What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over part 2 of the video. I recently picked up some vintage weapons, not the ones you use as a human, but basically toy weapons from mainly from the mid-80s, which is my childhood. So I wanted to share this pickup with you. I did the first video. I just posted it, spent 55 bucks on an online auction, and wanted to show you guys how I listed the items. And also we're going to go over some recent sales and discuss that as well. So if you're finding this stuff, or if you have this stuff, don't throw it away. Don't give it away at a garage sale for pennies on the dollar. You can list it as well. So let's get right into it. Let me take a look here. So on our screen here, these are the items I've got listed. So in my eBay store, I've been doing this for quite some time. I have 1,763 items listed for sale, and I have sold usually, it's 362 sales, excuse me, in the last 90 days. And it's been good. Like, sales have been decent. My goal is to reach at least 1,000 every week. Again, I do this part-time. It took me a good 4 hours to basically identify each actual item. That's the weapons that I'm going to cover real quick, and get them all listed. The photo part was very easy, and I found that taking the photos first was better for me. But while I was taking the photos, I didn't want to waste my time and take a bunch of photos of something that was completely worthless. The good news is, out of the 83 items, what was it, 64 of them were actually worth listing on eBay to resell. And I didn't want to be that guy, like the highest offer. You know, I'm not doing a museum here, guys. We want to actually sell these items. So I did price some of the items pretty cheap just to keep it moving. But I did find some very, very unique items that nobody has listed on eBay, or if they do, they already come with the figure, and then that person wants big bucks. So I kind of do this as a learning experience, so that when I'm out there sourcing, checking things out, I want you guys to also be able to recognize this kind of stuff. And that's what I feel I get the most benefit when I'm watching other people on YouTube. I'll even watch, like, ladies. Shout out to Nurse Flipper. She sells stuff I would never pick up, but I always like to watch her videos because that's from a lady's reseller view of things. And she picks up some amazing stuff. She has a lot of sales. And again, if you're a dude, watch some ladies on YouTube and see what they resell. So that way you're not passing up easy items to resell, or donating stuff that's actually worth, really good money. So anyways, let's get into the video here. So I'm going to show you basically the items that I have listed, and we're going to go by most recent here. So we're going to go to newly listed, and then I'm going to get my head out of here and just show you full screen. It took me a good 4 hours. I did 2 hours last night and 2 hours today putting into it, and that also includes researching each item. And I was hoping to hit like a home run. There's a few of them that are pretty expensive, but this basically is how I would list the items. Some of these were tough to find, so I used Google Lens, still couldn't find it. And then I found some, like, other websites where some dude has gone through every single Transformer that's ever been made, G.I. Joe, you name it, and they've literally taken photos of all the weapons. But so that helps you too. So if you have something really rare and you can't even find it on eBay, because most people don't sell this stuff on eBay, so they call them grail pieces. But this is how I take my photos of stuff. So something like this is $4. The corpse lanyard, action figure Gatling gun. There's some detail, pretty nice detail in this stuff. But the more modern stuff really isn't worth that much. It's really the stuff from the mid-80s where someone has a figure, the item's long gone. I mean, Rambo was not very collectible. So here's like a little anti-tank grenade. Again, I just found that by searching eBay. I thought this flamethrower from the Rambo figures from 1986 would be worth a little bit more. Coleco made them. Coleco was a vintage video game maker back in the day with Intellivision. That's before Nintendo even came out. So you younger guys that are watching this that are into toys probably have no clue what I'm talking about. This was pretty cool. So I gave the Army Men. So if you watch my first video, I gave the Army Men to my grandson. I like playing them when I was little. He's not even 3 yet, and he played with them for like 10 minutes. And there's only 4 little vintage Army Green Men. But this Indian here is from the 50s, so that was pretty cool. I knew that was old. A lot of this stuff was really, really nice condition, with the exception of this. So this is Silverhawk's Telepix 1986 bluegrass guitar. This is like some weird off. I guess it's very collectible. Like this Silverhawk dude complete is like $100, and this is his guitar. I thought this was like some Guitar Hero type stuff, so I thought this was more modern. But this thing's been chewed up. So most of the other resellers are asking 10, $20 for this guitar. I'm only asking 5 because I figure if someone actually has a figure and they play with it, or they're giving it to their kid, it's pretty cool that they can get the actual guitar and, you know, not being collectible standards of things. And here's a couple of pieces. So this actually got attached to, it was like a gold chariot, and it's like the air chariot where it was like this big python cobra commander type dude, and these are the little guns that go on the side. So it was weird though. I have 3 of them, so that means wherever this collection came from, they obviously had 2 of those chariots, but those chariot pieces can be worth a lot. This is off a Sea Ray missile, and there were quite a few of these. There were 6 of these. So again, I'm not getting rich on any of this stuff, but I also like to do this kind of thing every now and then to jump into a genre that I have not really messed with in over 15 years. And it's interesting to me to see that the prices have kind of held steady. Like this is about what a miss or a torpedo would sell for. If the actual torpedo has a very nice sticker on it, you can ask a little bit more for it as well. So GI Joe is known to giving kids stickers, and then your job was to place it on the weapon or the, you know, the where it needed to go. And sometimes it wasn't exactly clear in the instructions where it needed to go. So I remember as a kid, a lot of times some of the kids would just put the stickers everywhere or do a crappy job or have really dirty hands. I like to put my stickers on nicely. Same goes for Transformers. So these are just the missiles, and then you want to take pictures apart. And then there are places that will remake these if it's really, really rare. So someone that owns a 3D printer or whatever, they'll actually recreate this. This is off the big, huge USS Flag aircraft carrier. Definitely was not rich enough as a kid to afford this big monster. This comes from a huge aircraft carrier, but the missiles definitely get a little bit more because people are always looking to put together that full set. This was interesting too. So I didn't mention in my first video, I completely forgot about M.A.S.K, M.A.S.K. So these were like these junky made cars with like little figures, and the cars had weapons on them. So it was a little unique where it's like, it was the first time that I can remember where vehicles actually had weapons on them. So as a kid, you could basically, you know, there was good guys and bad guys. And these mask items are very, very rare, hard to find. They weren't built very well back then, like a Transformer or He-Man figure, and they're pretty cheaply made. So it's pretty cool that this little itty bitty missile here is worth $19, and I'm the cheapest on eBay. Here's a bomb from GI Joe, Tomahawk missile. That's off the large Tomahawk helicopter. That's a very popular item that people will pay big money for pieces because there's plenty of, again, that was very expensive. I actually was fortunate enough to have the Tomahawk helicopter. It had camouflage on it with dual things on it. You could put your GI Joes inside. It had missiles. It was very cool. It was like the main piece that I played with all the time. And I even had like Star Wars dudes in there. I had Transformers in there. They'd all fight. So when I was having a battle as a kid, it wasn't just GI Joe versus Cobra. It was like GI Joe bringing Transformer, the Autobots against Cobra, and then Cobra and the Decepticons. I mean, and then He-Man would come in and smash everybody. Like I didn't care. Like I would integrate all my toys, and this helicopter was very, very cool. So I've sold many of the pieces from my original childhood. Even like a wing. Sometimes these wings, they always broke off. So if you have one that's not broken, they're like $15 for a stupid plastic wing. And some of these items I did not recognize, so I definitely did not have 1990 Cobra Overlord's Dictator missile, because in 1990, I would have been 14 years old, and I don't know too many 14-year-olds that were still playing G.I. Joe, so this was more of a newer one. I also did not know what this was, but this is a Tyco Dino Riders. These are extremely collectible sets. So it was like dinosaurs that had missiles and lasers on them, with like some random dudes that nobody even knew the dudes, unless you're really into it. But some of these Dino Rider toys, brand new in the box, like they're $500, $600, $700, extremely collectible. And this jacked up looking gun it had to fit over the arm of one of the Dino Riders. Again, I don't know if it was a bad guy or a good guy, but I'm like the only one selling one for $5 on eBay. This guy here is from Masters of the Universe. This was the Roboto, and the Roboto had basically interchangeable weapons. So you basically would place this axe inside. He had a hand, which was kind of a mechanical hand, and he only had one blaster. So it was weird that I actually have two of these blasters available. So again, this little end piece here would stick into your He-Man figure, and that would be his weapon. Ninja Warriors 2, wasn't really into that. My neighbor was, because Ninja Warriors, I don't know if I wasn't really much into ninjas, but Ninja Warriors, I think, came out around the same time Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 86 or maybe the late 80s. I forget. Again, the dates I'm not perfect on, but some of these weapons, they're like soft, and they're kind of sticky. It's kind of gross. But they're pretty rare. So again, someone that's looking to complete their Ninja Warriors item, the weapons always got lost. And then there was like some Fisher Price pieces in here. Again, I don't really remember this, but this goes on to something, and whatever, $3. Again, I could throw it away, but I'd rather list it out there so that someone that's looking to complete their toy that they found at a garage sale, obviously completed toys, to the and completed with actual vintage items, sell for a heck of a lot more. So you always have your collectors out there that are looking for these pieces. So again, I'm the cheapest here on the Slingshot missile, and all these were in really nice shape too. This one was completely random. This is from 1980s, early 80s. This was a Tommy, made by Tomei, Astro Changer Space Vanguard Bulldozer Buffalo Blue Blaster Gun. So why am I asking $30? Well, because this particular toy was not very well made. It always fell apart. Most kids blew them up. It was actually a die-cast transformer that would transform from a robot to a bulldozer. Sounds like what they were talking about in that movie Big, when Tom Hanks and them were trying to figure out toys. And I don't know if you remember that movie, but they were like building, or they had prototypes of a transforming building, and Tom Hanks was like, what's so fun about playing with the building? And they're like, it's cool, it's a transform, it turns into a robot. But then he was like, what are you supposed to do with the building? It just sits there. So I thought that was pretty funny, and he had a really good point there. But construction vehicles that turn into robots, obviously the Autobots had something like that, where I think it was like a lime green with purple, very, very 80s, right? But they would all connect into one giant robot. And again, or one big transformer. I think they were the Decepticons. I owned it. I don't remember what it was called. I just remember I sold it for a lot of money. So this was like the Japanese version or whatever. And this is one of the blasters. And I'm the only one on eBay that's listed this blaster. I could have been a real jerk and listed it for like $80, $100, but $30. Someone probably has the bulldozer. The bulldozer parts fall apart too. And this is going to help someone complete their figure. And then most of these guys just collect it, but some people are looking to resell it, and they'll need this blaster to turn their $15, $20 figure and make it worth hundreds of dollars. In my original video, I thought this was Beastmaster or whatever, Battle, whatever. It's not. It's some weird Arzon hologram staff. Arzon it's like a Visionary series. So 3D or holograms was like a really big deal, especially in 1987. Like that was pretty expensive for them to produce this. Guys, they weren't even putting holograms on trading cards until Upper Deck introduced that in 1989. And they were the first of trading cards to make them actually look different than just some dude, baseball player on a card. So this piece here, I'm the cheapest on eBay for this one. It's in nice condition. And then some of these other items here, Pocket Power. This was made by Sega and Tyco. It was like some kind of rocket launcher. So you'd put something in there, it'd shoot it out. So this actually has a spring inside. This guy I definitely recognize. I've sold this before. So this was from the Dinobots from Transformers. This was one of Sludge's missile launchers. And the Diaclone version, which are the Japanese version, they had very strong springs in these, and those are worth like thousands of dollars brand new in the box. But when these toys made it here to the US, they did not allow the springs to be very powerful. So when you would put the little missile inside, it literally would just basically barely clear the barrel. It wasn't super cool, but they didn't want us US kids shooting our eye out. You shoot your eye out, kid, right? Some of the G.I. Joe stuff, Beachhead is a very popular character. So this is his actual weapon, and the conditions, everything too. Again, most of these have like broke off tips, so you can see there's very little skinny pieces on these plastic pieces. So if a kid was pretty rough playing with them back in the day, chances are they didn't survive. This was a female Cobra character. I always thought her weapon was really weird because it's like she had like basically like a Chinese star at the end or a spinning saw. Pretty brutal, right? If you got hit by that. So her weapon is very, very unique. And again, very hard to find that it's actually in nice condition, because I remember as a kid, these little tips on the end here, I would bite them. Yes, I was probably 6, 7 years old and probably was biting that stuff, or even 8 years old. And then when my little brother was 10 years younger, got a hold of them, a lot of the toys just got smoked. Like, he was pretty rough on the toys too. I didn't own this figure because in 1989, I was getting out of, I wasn't, begging to get Transformers anymore. It was basically Super Nintendo and that kind of stuff. So this is an actual turret or cannon that goes onto the ground shaker figure. This is in super nice condition and actually tilts. So very cool. And you can always recognize Transformer because they actually have real metal screws that they would use to connect this stuff. So a lot of these were made in Japan, or if they were made here, they made sure that they were still very well made. And this is one of the side ports, side blasters that went on the side of Ground Shaker. Again, I didn't own Ground Shaker. This is Roadblock's machine gun. This thing is freaking huge. So Roadblock was like this bald dude with camo, and basically this is I forgot what this is called. It's like a saw, but it's basically the weapon that you put and mount on a tripod or a bipod, and crouch on your belly and shoot people from a just to clear massive amounts of inventory. But this guy Roadblock was so big he would just carry it around, kind of like the Predator movie, or I think it was Jesse the Body Ventura with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jesse was carrying around this big giant saw, which could not have been comfortable because I think that thing's like over 100 pounds. A little flare gun from Stretcher. Never owned the Stretcher character because he came out in 1990. I could not ever find a Starscream. Starscream was one of the like F-15 fighters. He was a bad guy. He was part of the Decepticons. Never could find them in the Toys R Us near me as a kid, and it always pissed me off because I definitely love the F-15 or the design of that because it was done really, really well, and I was also watching the cartoon at the time, so it all went together. But you can never find this in the store, so it's kind of cool that and again, those pieces are a little more rare. And then this was one of the blasters that would I think he would hold in his hand. And then here we have Computron Technobot. Didn't have that guy either, but this one has 2 of his blasters, which again is weird because I think he only came with 1. Then we got some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is just a white blaster for $5. And then 1989 parts Axer. I did not have an Axer. There was a Playmobil rifle in there, which is worth a couple bucks. The Lego swords. This was the original from the Castle series, the older gray swords. So someone will pay $2 for that. Usually these things are all beat up looking, and they're very basic compared to like how fancy the Legos make them now. This was interesting. This again is from the aircraft carrier, and this was some kind of flag mast. So maybe this went on the top of the carrier. I'm sure it got broke all the time because this part right here is super skinny. So this is a pretty rare part. Again, you're probably, if you're not into toys, you probably stop watching already, but it's just, you see something like this or a box of stuff like this, dude, pick it up. This thing's $24 all day long. I did not have the G.I. Joe Cobra Trouble Bubble either, some kind of flight pod missile rocket launcher, but this one actually had the sticker on it. So whoever had these toys beforehand didn't really beat them up that bad. I've definitely sold this numerous of times because I had a very nice He-Man collection. I don't think mine said USA on it though. Mine probably said Taiwan. So the USA, if it's marked USA versus Taiwan, the USA one's worth a lot more. There's also Mexico that will sell for like $50 because most people in Mexico, it's really hard to find He-Man toys here in the US, and most of the ones in Mexico, like I don't think it was as popular as it was here in the United States. So most of that stuff got thrown in the trash when the kids grew up, or just got destroyed because there's probably more kids in Mexico during that time. And then this He-Man sword is, again, Skeletor sword. I knew what this was, and I know they're worth more because this little piece right here always breaks. It's always broken. So to have one complete from 1981, I mean, dude, this thing is old. Like, I'm old, 48, but this thing's almost as old as me. And the fact that it still survived. And again, it has this little notch here because you could connect other swords, or you can connect the swords together. And that was really cool. That was a $15 bill all day long. I was not into Power Rangers. This is more of my brother's stuff. I don't even know if he was into it because he was more into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But this is a big Megazord mode. So this is the giant sword. This thing's big. It's like almost the size of my hand. And this is basically what all the Power Rangers would transform into and turn into the big Megazord to fight, Godzilla type enemies, size enemies. And this is the big sword. So that one's pretty cool. Again, more Ninja Warriors. I thought this was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons just because it had like this handle here is like sticky. It's hard to describe, but when you touch it, it's like sticky because the plastic or rubber, it's just how it is. So this is kind of like some unknown Scorpia dude. Again, there were so many toys that came out in the 80s. It was like insane. Like everyone was trying to make money because Transformers were huge. G.I. Joe was huge. He-Man was huge. So you had a lot of these like other type of ninjas and stuff coming out at that time. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were popular as well. The smaller the missile, the better. So this again is a 1990 turbo cycle Prowl missile. I did not have this item, but I do know like the original missiles from like the first Transformers that came out. Some of those missiles can be like $20. It's stupid because they're so tiny and they always got lost, especially the Dinobots ones. They were like literally chrome looking, like that was like metallic painted missiles. G.I. Joe bomb disposable. I think I might have had this weird toy. This is, I don't know what this is. This is a big bomb. Voltron's rubber vintage LGN sword. This sword is like very rubbery. I was into Voltron, but I don't think I picked this toy up. So Voltron was cool. This one's interesting. This is Wetsuits Searchlight. This obviously part breaks all the time, so this one is broken. But then there's like a newer character where the flashlight is yellow, like way more yellow. This is like yellowish orange, and the very yellow one is not worth any money at all. It's probably not even worth less. It's like a couple bucks. But this one's worth more because this is from Wetsuit, which was basically a GI Joe guy that had flippers and stuff when go underwater. So Beachhead, again, very popular character. This is his I guess ammo case. This always got lost. So again, this ammo case is probably worth more than a Beachhead action figure all by itself. Sky Commanders wasn't into that, but I figured out what that piece was. Again, this is that Fisher Price piece. And that's pretty much it. So the rest of the stuff is just the jewelry that I've listed that I also picked up on a lot, and some Star Wars stuff, and then also picked up some albums from my local coin shop. So anyways, guys, just wanted to show you this. I know the video went a little long, but whatever. I wanted to show you everything that I got listed. So ultimately it was around $450 of value of stuff on eBay. And out of I think it was like a little more than 64 items, because I forgot some of these listings had like 2 or 6 items in one. But here we are with sales. So in the last 7 days, did like $700, which is pretty good. It should be higher because it's Q4, right? But I'm happy with that. Again, I do this part-time for fun. So again, to educate you guys, definitely get out there. Definitely, you know, look for stuff, and don't overlook the weapons box. Again, if I had a choice between a box of action figures and a box of weapons, I would grab the box of weapons all day long, because most people at garage sales do not know what these things are worth. And even resellers or other people at flea markets and stuff, um, they know what it's worth, but they don't want to take the time to list it all. And I like to list this stuff to educate myself, help you guys out too when you're out there looking for stuff to source. And maybe you have this stuff lying around and you didn't even know it was worth that much money. But it is nice. Was it worth the 4 hours put together? I think so. You know, if all that stuff sells, once you list it on eBay, like it's basically out there advertised to the world, come buy me. So for $55, let's see, let's do the math here. 55 invested, 4 hours invested, have about $450 in retail stuff. That's $395. Figure about 10% in eBay fees. So $350 profit divided by 4 hours. That's like $88 an hour, right? So who makes $88 an hour? A lawyer, a doctor, and they're lucky if they do. They probably have to be in it for 20 plus years. So here's some of the recent sales. Sold, and again, a lot of stuff was picked up at garage sales. This was picked up in an auction lot. This is a very cool American Indian arrowhead. This was mine as a kid, from a kid. An album, some video games, some gold, some Gucci sandals from my daughter in Florida that I brought back with me to sell. And yes, I did sell a VHS. This was the first one to sell. So I picked up that VHS lot for $55. I got like $1 into each one of these, and check it out. Spice World sealed. Why did someone buy this? I don't know. Maybe they're going to get graded. Is that the next thing, guys? Are they going to start grading VHS? I think they have already. They've already started it. And I'm obviously selling some Christmas items. People are picking up little toys like this too as gifts. I know the money's still pretty tight out there, but I do notice I've been selling some more like long pants or jeans, my old jacket. Here's a Christmas gift card holder. It's just an empty box. A Cobra Command piece right here. That I've probably had listed for 2 years. Someone finally bought it. Sold a coin. Sold a Harry Potter book, Star Magazine, some CDs, more Christmas stuff, some hats. So stuff is selling. It's completely random with me. Again, I like to source coins. I like to source certain things, but then really get into it. And I did really, really well on the Pokemon. So I almost 10x my money on the Pokemon. So all the Pokemon sold. They were on auction. And yeah, even the Barbies I picked up, I think I had like $5 in each one of these. These 2 sold within the first like 3 days. Silver belt buckle, some more clothes, and then this card here is the one that I made basically doubled my money just on the one card. So if you guys don't know anything about Pokemon, I'm going to teach you right now. If you see this card, because everyone wants the Charizard, but the Blastoise is probably the second most popular card. If it's a holo, you want to look for 1999 Wizards, because that's the first edition. If it does not have a shadow here, it's worth double or triple or quadruple or quintuple of what this one sold for. And again, this is a raw card. This is not graded, but this one was in really nice shape. And I put this on auction. So this is like real life what it actually is worth. So as always, guys, I appreciate you guys watching my channel. And I will come back to you when I get to the coin shop next. I do have some B-roll from the coin shop too, so I'm going to list that. So I know you guys that usually watch my channel for coins. I was recently there, basically sold a bunch of my stuff, picked up some Dansko books for the holidays, and then the next time I go in there, I'm going to pick up a bunch of shiny new Morgans. Well, shiny old Morgans that aren't cleaned. So anyways, guys, appreciate you guys watching. I'll check you out on the next one. Bye-bye.